Morning, everybody. I'm Greg Fisher, the Mayor of Louisville. Thank you for joining us for an exciting announcement here today. Amidst the context where we've got challenges, we've got opportunities, but we're all very aware that between the pandemic, the economic downturn, the justified calls for racial equity, there's a lot going on right now. So we've got to stay focused on keeping our community moving forward in times like this. And we know that struggle or tough times are hard, in particular for our youth. People sometimes that call them opportunity youth, at-risk youth. We like to see them as opportunities. They are great opportunities and great assets for our community. Oftentimes, opportunity youth are described as both out of school and without a job, so they're facing some significant challenges. And these young people are among those Metro government has been working to serve and connect with opportunities over the years through programs like our Summer Works, just completed its 10th session this past summer, Reimage, which helps youth who've been involved in the justice system get a GED and get a job. Our Thrive Fellowship that recently wrapped up its first cohort. We're also supporting efforts like Evolve 502, which will provide wraparound supports to all of our youth as they're going through school, and then a scholarship, no cost, to get a 2-year degree to Jefferson Community Technical College and Simmons College as well. And that's for students that are currently enrolled in JCPS high school. So from freshman to senior, if you're at JCPS right now, there is a college scholarship awaiting you, which can be a huge, huge game changer. Now, for today's opportunity youth, my administration, in partnership with Metro Council, JCPS, and numerous youth service organizations, are working every day to make sure our community's young people continue to be lifted up. And the important thing is that they have hope, and they see that hope in a future that includes them in an exciting way. And that's why last month we joined with Metro Council to announce nearly $1 million allocated for the Creating Support Structures for System-Involved Youth Grant Program. Creating Support Structures for System-Involved Youth. This funding opportunity was created to support youth and young adults ages 16 to 24 who are experiencing disconnection. And that means, again, that they're not in school and they're not working, and or they're involved in the juvenile justice, child welfare system, or both, with a specific emphasis on youth who are incarcerated in foster care, or youth who are exiting or have exited these systems. And so these are young folks that experience tells us are often in danger of being lost to the streets and to futures that often end in heartbreak for them and their family. And that's not good enough for them, for our families, for our cities, and we want to do everything that we can to help in this regard. So it's clear that any healthy city believes in its youth, in their future, and we're willing to invest in them in their future as well. So we know as we work with these youth that oftentimes there are complex and multiple challenges that they're dealing with. Could be trauma, abuse, poverty, substance use, housing insecurity, and more. And when you put all those together, it is a big challenge, and we need support in those areas. And that's why we're creating structures of support for system-involved youth funding opportunity. And we encourage proposals from nonprofit organizations. In particular, we were looking for those that were focused on collaboration, because you need massive teamwork to make progress in these areas. And we need multiple agencies to support a coordinated system of services for system-involved youth in Louisville. 16 agency applicants were considered for this funding, and today we're proud to announce the 3 awardees. The awardees are the Louisville Urban League, the Coalition Supporting Young Adults, also known as some of the work that YouthBuild Louisville is doing, and then Goodwill Industries of Kentucky. So nice job to all these folks on their applications and creating a system that's going to really help our youth. In a few minutes, you're going to hear from some of these organizations, and they're going to share the vision for their work that will be supported by this grant. the city's Metro Government's Office of Youth Development, which is part of our Resilience and Community Services team, will be overseeing the distribution of the funds and the work that's taking place. The Office for Youth Development Leadership was significantly boosted earlier this year with the addition of Dr. Asha Brown and Dr. Billy Castle. Both Dr. Brown and Dr. Castle bring a wealth of knowledge and leadership experience that will help us advance this office, our Youth Development Office, and its programs. So I'm happy to welcome Dr. Brown to share a few words with us.
Thank you, Mayor Fisher. Good morning. As I've been introduced, my name is Dr. Asha Brown, and I am the Director of the Office of Youth Development and Resilience and Community Services. In September of this year, 2020, Mayor Fisher appointed myself and Dr. Billy Castle, who is the Youth Development Systems Administrator in the Office of Youth Development, to lead the work that OYD, Office of Youth Development, is doing. And one of the first responsibilities in our new role was to disperse funds to agencies in Louisville to provide case management, peer support, centralization, outreach, and transportation services to Opportunity Youth. Since starting in this role in September, we quickly adopted a social justice youth development approach to our work at the Office of Youth Development. This approach is focused on addressing the root causes of social and economic inequities experienced by youth pushed to the margins of our society and this city. Social justice youth development requires a recognition that many youth living in our city, especially Black and Latinx youth, their families, and their communities are enduring structural violence and systemic racism. This form of violence and racism occurs when social institutions and systems such as government, education, healthcare systems do harm by preventing individuals from having their basic needs met. We know that with the COVID-19 global pandemic, the number of youth in our city who have limited access to education, employment, healthcare, and other determinants of health are rising. When we use the term opportunity youth to describe youth not in school and not working, we fail to name the systems that they must navigate to access education, to access employment, to access healthcare, and all of the things that they need to be healthy. In order to name the system that creates the inequities Opportunity Youth experience, we expanded our definition and shifted our language to system-involved youth. This includes youth involved with systems including juvenile justice, foster care, and the adult criminal legal system, as Mayor Fisher shared earlier. We not only shifted our language, we also considered our approach. Transactional approaches tend to be our first line of defense for addressing the barriers system-involved youth face. Some examples of transactional approaches are providing free bus passes to youth who are experiencing transportation barriers, or providing housing vouchers for those who are having trouble paying rent or securing housing. However, we know that these approaches are just Band-Aids and do not address the root cause of the issues many youth in our city face. The Office of Youth Development is focused on moving toward the adoption of transformational approaches. These approaches look like making transportation free and more accessible to all youth who are in need, and canceling rent and mortgages during times of economic downturns and global pandemics. Additionally, transformational approaches look like providing free and high quality Wi-Fi and increasing digital access to youth throughout the entire city. We know that transformational work will be an uphill battle, and we acknowledge that the work taking place as a result of this funding fails to be fully transformational. However, it is our goal to move in the direction of transformation so that those most directly affected by these issues have the power to make decisions about how their basic needs are being met. Today, we announce Coalition Supporting Young Adults and YouthBuild as our lead for centralization and outreach services, Goodwill Industries of Kentucky as our lead for peer support and transportation services, and the Louisville Urban League as our lead for case management. We would also like to announce the consortium that we've created to support these structures that we're building for system-involved youth. This consortium is referred to as the Louisville System-Involved Youth Consortium. And it will be a gathering of all agencies, organizations, and individuals in Louisville who serve system-involved youth. While $950,000 is a great deal of money, we recognize the need in the community is much larger, and we must work together to truly make an impact. The Louisville System Involved Youth Consortium has the goal of building a new system that provides services to Louisville youth with the most need. Our goal is to do transformational work through the consortium by bringing as many groups, organizations, and people to the table to shift our cultural values and political will to create equity for system-involved youth. We're excited about getting this work started, and we look forward to transforming our city alongside those most affected by structural violence and systemic racism. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. It's a big, worthy goal that we have, and then we need to continue to make progress forward. On Tuesday, I issued an executive order declaring racism as a public health crisis in our community. The announcement we're making here today clearly is a step in addressing that issue, but just one small step on what will be a long journey, and appreciate you and your team being such effective advocates and leaders in that area. You mentioned that the Urban League is involved with this effort, and one of the awardees, they were not able to join us today. So if you want to talk a little bit more about what their participation looks like, we'll then move on to the other speakers.
Wonderful. Yes, I can do that. So I would like to acknowledge Dr. Kishkumi Price, who is the Director of Educational Policy and Programs at the Louisville Urban League. She could not be here with us today as they're preparing for their annual report luncheon tomorrow. However, I wanted to provide an overview of what the Louisville Urban League how they'll participate in the consortium. The Louisville Urban League historically is a civil rights organization, and they're celebrating their 100 years next year to dedicate fostering economic empowerment in order to elevate the standard of living in historically underserved urban communities. And this is their focus. It's been on jobs, justice, education, health, and housing. The Louisville Urban League was chosen to lead case management for our consortium because of their strong track record in utilizing the community health navigator model with using a public health approach, which addresses
All right, Dr. Brown, you just froze up if you can hear us.
A community health navigator will help young people navigate through food, justice, housing, education, and employment as they access different services. To focus on case management, and we're looking forward to working closely with them. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Brown, appreciate that. You went in and out quite a bit on that, but the big takeaway is that the Urban League will be our case management leader with this system right now. So thank you for that. All right. Now I'd like to welcome a representative with YouthBuild Louisville on behalf of the Coalition Supporting Young Adults. Lynn Rippey is the president and CEO of YouthBuild. We'll be hearing from her, and then also Shay Jackson, one of our leaders with this effort. Lynn?
Thank you. The Coalition Supporting Young Adults is a collective action initiative of more than 650 members, representing more than 60 community organizations in Louisville who are committed to transforming the way we support vulnerable youth and young adults. I would just like to take a moment to thank Elizabeth Sanalvi for her leadership over the past 6 years to advance this work with us. We will be doing YouthBuild supporting coalition to stand up this organization, and we'll do this by including marginalized young people, advocating for their success, and connecting them with the programs and other opportunities. In 2001, we'll transition from an all-volunteer initiative, which we've been for 6 years, to an incorporated nonprofit. And the coalition celebrates and cultivates diversity along multiple dimensions, including race, ethnicity, sex, gender identity, gender expression, sexual orientation, age, national origin, social economic status, religion, ability, culture, and experience. And I know that's a mouthful, but all of that is important as we move forward as a community. And what I'd like to do is have Shay Jackson talk a little bit about why services and connected services are so important to young people.
Good morning. I'm Shay Jackson. I'm a student at YouthBuild Louisville. I'd like to start by saying thank you to YouthBuild. With the help that I received from YouthBuild, I was able to obtain my GED. Tuesday, I took my CNA state board. I'm receiving help with housing, and I've also received a scholarship for college through AmeriCorps. When I came into YouthBuild, I came in with the intention of bettering my lifestyle, and they've done everything in their power to make sure that I succeed. Not every young student or young adult gets the chance of getting a second chance. And with programs like this, it allows us to open doors that we never thought possible.
So thanks, Shay.
Yeah.
All that to say that we are super excited to work with all of our peers here in Louisville to make sure that we connect services in the most effective way possible to serve young people like Shay and others who really are needing the support. None of us came in this world having everything we needed, and most of us had amazing parents to be able to support us and wrap around us, and community leaders and guardians. Sometimes young people just need a little extra support, and we're really trying to figure out how we can make that happen. So thanks for all of our partners, and thank you, Mayor and Dr. Brown, for your faith in us.
Absolutely, Lynn. You guys have been a proven performer at YouthBuild, so we appreciate that. Shay, thank you. You kind of went through your accomplishments like they were no big deal. Those are huge milestones and achievements. So great job to you. Congratulations. And you serve as an inspirational model to lots of folks. So don't underestimate that. All right. And then Elizabeth, thank you as well for all of your good work over the years. Glad to see you're safe and masking up there. All right. Now we'd like to welcome Dennis Ritchie. Dennis, thank you for joining us. He is the Director of Reentry Services at Goodwill Industries of Kentucky and another important partner in this effort.
Thank you, Mayor Fisher. Good morning, everyone. And Shay, I want to echo Mayor Fisher's comments and congratulate you. That's inspirational. We really appreciate your efforts and what you're doing. So Goodwill is super excited to be a part of this, and I want to say thank you to Louisville Metro government, first off, for letting us participate in this collaboration, and say that we're really excited to participate with YouthBuild Louisville and with the Urban League, and excited to collaborate. So Goodwill's two objectives for this funding are to provide peer support services and transportation. As most of you know, our mission is kind of to eradicate poverty in Louisville and communities around the state of Kentucky. And our motto is a hand up, not a handout. And we look forward to forwarding both of those things in this endeavor. So for transportation, we all know that transportation is vital and key. It's going to provide access for these participants to services, critical resources and services that they need. And it's also going to provide employment opportunities outside of their immediate neighborhoods. Goodwill is opening up a new resource center. January 1st is our official open date at 909 East Broadway. And that resource center will be the anchor for providing these holistic support services and this transportation service within this funding. With peer support, Goodwill just wants participants to feel supported in their pursuit of self-sufficiency, and the peer support specialist will encourage participants and advocate for them in their success. The purpose of peer support is to have somebody by your side that has experienced the things that you've experienced and has life experience and has overcome some of the same things that you are going through. So when these participants get referred to us and are having issues from the Urban League, our peer support specialist will take over and help along with the case management of the Urban League to guide them through their problems and to provide a holistic service where they are successful. So we look forward to the opportunity. Again, we're grateful and we know that this is going to be a great success. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Dennis, to you and the whole team at Goodwill. Appreciate all the good work you guys do in our city each and every day. Okay, our final speaker is going to represent the great partnership that's required to do this in terms of government. The funding for this initiative was made possible by a Metro Council resolution, and I really appreciate the council's partnership and investment in Louisville's youth. Special thanks to the sponsor of the ordinance. It was Councilwoman Keisha Dorsey and Nicole George and Councilman James Peden. I appreciate them sponsoring this resolution and for serving on the work group for this initiative to determine this approach as well, and for being longtime champions for Louisville's young people. And representing the Metro Council today is Councilwoman Keisha Dorsey from District 3. Councilwoman Dorsey, thank you so much. We've been seeing a lot of each other this week, and look forward to hearing your remarks here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I first have to start off where you left off, and that's first thanking the entire Metro Council for allocating this funding in the budget. This budget season was especially challenging, but through all the challenges, what I am proud to say is that this Metro Council decided to make an investment in this city's youth. And that is huge because what we decided was to make an investment in our future. So I want to thank each and every council member. Beyond that, I got to know Councilman James Peden and Councilwoman Nicole George very well, along with our city's Chief Financial Officer, Daniel Frock, who was instrumental in steering this, helping us to develop a criteria that got us to the place where we would decide how we proceeded forward with those funds. It was not an easy task. We went through interviewing many youth to understand their needs and to develop a criteria, and then Councilwoman George moved forward with the team to go ahead and go about selecting these organizations that would eventually support these youth. As you said, the organizations that were chosen have a long-standing history in this community, not just in this community, but also with supporting youth. So we are very proud as an entire council to support this. We are very proud to see this move forward. We have faith in these young people as well as these organizations, and we look forward, to this continued partnership. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman, and thank you, Councilman Peden. I see him on there, but so please give our best to the entire council, if you would, Councilwoman Dorsey. Thank you. All right. All right, so I want to just thank everybody for joining us today to hear about this initiative, how it fits in our fight for continued equity here in our community, and we're going to keep moving forward one day at a time with one great program and great results at a time, like we heard from Shay here on the program earlier today. So with that, we're happy to take any questions from the media. If Jess, you want to take that.
Sure. Okay, our first question comes from Amina Alahi with WFPL. She is asking to clarify, is the funding for this coming from the $1 million allocation for disconnected youth and young adults that was part of this year's budget? I think Dr. Castle responded to her in the chat, but does anybody else have anything to add?
Yeah,
We'll take. Okay.
I can add really quickly. So the answer to that is yes. And I do want to clarify that disconnected youth, opportunity youth was the language that was adopted and has been used. And we will continue to talk about opportunity youth throughout this process of building out this consortium. But I do want to be very clear that we recognize that young people who are disconnected, young people who are labeled as opportunity also have a lot of involvement and are very much connected to child welfare systems and are very connected to juvenile justice and adult criminal legal systems. And so that is why the language shifted to system involved youth, because it encompasses all of that. And it also names the system. We're shifting from a different approach to youth development that focuses on social justice youth development. And if we're looking at the root causes, we need to be looking at the systems. And so we're going to name the systems in order to truly do some transformational work here.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Brown. And if any other media have questions, please place those in the chat. And Mayor, that is the last question.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. Office of Youth Development, great job, critical spot, and keep our community moving forward. To all of our partners, I thank you all as well. Thank you for the media for covering this, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody the next time. Thank you.